Hey guys, welcome back to the Music Business Podcast. I'm top music attorney, Miss Krystle, and this is the Top Music Attorney Podcast. Welcome on in. It is February 1st. Oh my goodness. I can't believe the last month just flew by. It's out of control how fast time seems to be going and all the big goals for this year, all the things that are in motion. And I'm here to help you with your music career and your business. So, a lot of things we're going to cover today, but while you guys are filing in the chat, how you doing? Let us know where you checking in from and what time is it. Hey. So, we're live streaming right now over on Top Music Attorney on YouTube, but we're also streaming on the other places. So, wherever you're at, be sure to hit that like button. Help tell the algorithm to to push us on out. It's a group effort. So last week we released so many videos, and let me just give you a quick overview of what those were. So Kat Von D, that was the one that kind of just went wild on social media because, as you guys know, I have my different brands. We do all the music business stuff on Top Music Attorney, and then for my more music, art, personal stuff that goes up through Miss Krystle. And so I ended up releasing a Kat Von D clip that I did, just kind of summarizing the lawsuit that she was in, the complaint. It was just like, it's such a wild situation that we don't see too often with tattoo artists getting sued because they tattooed or took inspiration from a picture. And so anyway, I ended up uploading it on Miss Krystle, and it did really well everywhere, but on Miss Krystle it went up to like 1 million views. So anyway, you guys are definitely super interested in Kat Von D, and then she made a statement. And what was this? 2 days ago. She made a statement 2 days ago, finally addressing the fact that she had won her copyright infringement lawsuit or the lawsuit against her. And, she gave a lot more information than I was expecting. So I just jumped on and I did like a full recap video of her 6 minute, 7 minute video, and then also kind of talking a little bit about the lawsuit, the implications, all the things. So if you want, if you want to get into all of it, you can watch the long form videos, plural, here on Top Music Attorney YouTube, but then also all the clips are everywhere. So anyway, if you've been tracking along, what do you think? Man, there were a lot of opinions. You guys went wild in the comments section. And from what I was seeing, it was mostly in favor of just, this finding. And this photographer just seems to be kind of, ambulance chaser, but just looking for a cash grab. Kat Von D kind of made that point in her video. But anyway, what do you guys think? Leave your comments in the chat. So anyway, we covered Kat Von D, but also Scott Weiland. If you remember, we talked about his estate, right? So singer, Stone Temple Pilots, and essentially what his estate had done to enter his music catalog into a collab deal with, and I think this was Primary Wave. And it was kind of a unique situation because often we talk about the sale of music catalogs altogether versus it being like, hey, we're going to represent the rights and all collect money. And so not really taking ownership. So that was kind of interesting. And then also Evanescence. Before this, I got sidetracked. I was on YouTube looking for something and it was like, oh, Evanescence released a new video like a month ago. I'm like, what? How did I not see this? And so I was watching the new Evanescence video. And anyway, we had covered that Evanescence made it into the Billions Club. And, on Spotify, having a song hit the billion mark is super cool. And so just kind of talking about why that happens and why it happened for them and all the things. So anyway, released a video on that. And then lastly, we did one, it was the 9 things I wish I knew when I started my music career, which was so good. Like, as far as just, I'm so about giving you guys the juiciest details and legit information that's going to help and all the things. So anyway, check that out if you missed it. If you need help with your music career, I've got you covered. For those of you checking in, what time is it and where are you checking in from? I'm doing great. Good to see you here. Hey. All right. Let's see. Eric in the chat. What's up, Eric? Winston. Let's see. Were you checking in from New York City? I think we're talking about Taylor Swift tonight. I think we have an update. Let's look at the show listing. What do we got popping? I do have the gavel. Where is it? My desk is out of control right now. It has been one of those weeks, one of those days, one of those months, and one of those years. But it is February first now. All right, so in the newsy things, we are talking about Tay Tay. So Taylor Swift, she filed for the TaylorCon trademark. This is kind of funny. We're gonna chat about it. But then yesterday, for those of you who do follow on Top Music Attorney Instagram, come on, we're hitting the news things like super quick. I'm trying this new method. And you guys seem to be liking it. I'm just like stopping my work in the middle of the day. I'm like, hey guys, leave me alone for half an hour. I gotta talk about how Universal removed all of its artist music from TikTok, which, P.S., happened. And this is essentially a standoff that is occurring between Universal and TikTok. And it's so cool and fun to see for like a hot second because we have, these two giants. And it's not necessarily that one has a lot of bargaining power over the other. And I'm just curious to see how this plays out because, Universal Music is making this big move and they sent this big open letter, which, even they emailed to all their artists. I got a copy. And they're like, hey, we're letting everyone know that, we're terminating, the contract or it's naturally expiring. We're not renewing. We're not going to renew with TikTok because TikTok is being exploitative. All right. So they're like calling TikTok out, which, it's a move. And they're like TikTok is underpaying for, royalties for the music that's being played on TikTok. And they're like, 1% of our revenue comes in from TikTok. So we're, our artists are getting so underpaid and blah, blah, blah. And we're not going to stand with, for it. And so therefore, until TikTok essentially meets our demands, we're pulling all the music. And so, that's Taylor Swift, Drake, Olivia Rodrigo, I think like Ariana Grande. I mean, some of the biggest artists in the world. And as of at least right now, if you go and you need to add a little sound of Taylor Swift to your video, you're not going to be able to. It's no longer on the platform. So anyway, we're going to talk about all the things that are happening. And besides that, in all things music, business, education, I was working on, this is not just for myself, but I like to share the things that I'm genuinely working on and things that are helping me. And so in how to make 2024 your best year ever as a musician, as a music producer, as a music manager, as just, some real like fundamental methods and tactics that I started implementing at the end of last year and that have just worked really, really well for me. And so anyway, I'm going to share the tea. Is that how you say that? I'm drinking the tea. I'm going to share all the things. But then also talking about, because you guys seem to just really like this topic, so I just wanted to hit it again, but it's record labels versus distributors. And specifically for those of you interested in doing record label deals, right? What makes more sense? Should you be doing a record contract kind of thing? Should you be doing a distribution deal? What are the pros? What are the cons? So I'm going to go through it all. All right, so that's the show rundown. For those of you just checking in, hey, what's up? Where are you checking in from and what time is it? On YouTube, what's up? Checking in from the lab, just finishing up a demo called Rotten. Hey, sounds good. Tim checking in from Kansas City, 7 p.m. All right, good to see you all here. Guess it leaves it all there for Warner and Sony. That's right. But, I just go back to who has more leverage here. And, kind of the point that I made in the clip that I posted was, I get it. It's Universal. It's a huge amount of music. But TikTok provides a platform and opportunity for exposure that almost no other platform does. Like, quite frankly, what was Sam Smith's big hit last year? Unholy. You know what I mean? Like, that put him on a whole other level, and it was because it was on the platform. Yes, it led to exposure for the music. Yes, it's all great, but it provided so much exposure for him as an artist that obviously the ancillary benefits to the label is going to be that people are coming to the show. It's going to be that people are buying the t-shirts and doing all the things, So that's where I'm going with it. I'm curious to see who caves. Someone's going to cave. Is it going to be TikTok or is it going to be Universal? All right, all right, all right. Checking in from Florida, 8. All right, that's right. You guys are 2 hours ahead of us right now. All right, so let me run the intro because I always seem to forget to do that. It's because I'm having so much fun with you and I'm chatting that I forget to do this. So I'm going to run the intro and I will be right back. Guys, I'm top music attorney Miss Krystle. I'm an entertainment attorney, public speaker, and creator of the Top Music Attorney School for artists and record labels. I'm the owner of Dukes Up Records, and most importantly, I'm an independent artist. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications so you don't miss my weekly videos giving you my best tips on the music business, industry news updates, and teaching you how to stay legally protected. Let's go. I've received word that my cup is taking up real estate on the screen. It is. It's quite giant. I got it for Christmas. What was it? We did like Secret Santa or something, and I got for the gift that I got like this big comfy blanket comforter thing for the couch, plus a box of chocolate. I think there was something else in there. It was a great find, but it was one of those you could steal gifts from each other. You go in a circle. I don't know. It's the first time I've played this game. So someone stole what I got. And then I got this, and I forget what else was in it. I think it's, a candle and some other stuff. I actually really like this. I've been using it pretty much every day. I don't know. It's great. Anyway, checking in from Ireland at 1 a.m. like a rock star. All right. Checking in from Anaheim. Time to go to Disneyland. No, not really. We would like to soon, though. AJ asks, what's the best way to keep record of payments? Well, anything that you can do digitally, the digital copy, so to speak, right? So if we have a PayPal payment, keep the statement. But you can also do stuff, even if you receive like a cash payment, you can write out a receipt. You can send an email, hey, John, thanks so much. Or, if you paid it, hey, John, I paid you $700, just memorializing that I paid you that. So, you can create a paper trail just so you have something to refer to. And I say this for verbal agreements. This was just funny side note. We had jury selection for a case earlier this week. And one of the questions that the attorney was asking, just the room in general, because there's like 40 people in there, and he just goes, for your understanding, a written contract versus a verbal contract, is one more enforceable than the other? Because he was trying to get a sense of, who he wants to have on the jury, the general understanding of how contracts work. And the majority of the room said that they didn't think a verbal contract is enforceable. And under the law, a verbal contract is enforceable. It's just a lot harder to prove. And it's funny, after the attorney gave the update, he's like, hey, just so you know, the law actually is that if it's a verbal contract, it is in fact enforceable. So understanding that's the state of the law, would you have a hard time applying the law as a juror? So if we find that there was a verbal agreement, that you would say that the contract needs to be enforced. And this one guy dug in his heels, and the guy's like, unless there's a recording of it, it's not enforceable, and I would not find that. Which I can appreciate it. He's like, just because there's no evidence. But what the attorney was doing a really poor job at explaining is that, well, if we show by all the evidence, because there's emails, hey, John, I paid you $800 because, you said you would make me a song. You're my music producer. I paid you the money. And then we have these emails showing that you never actually delivered the song to me. Well, we can show through the evidence that there was an agreement and you failed to abide by the agreement. Like, just to give a little example like that. So anyway, that one juror just was not going to be swayed. But anyway, so long-winded way of just saying, when it comes to the best way to keep records of payment, obviously, if you can have screenshots, text messages, emails, bank statements, any of that is all good and helpful. I thought that was common knowledge. No, and it's not like no knock to anyone, because it's also understandable of like, just because a lot of the jurors were saying, well, what if it's a he said, she said situation, right? How do we know that they actually agree to it unless it's in a contract and signed? And that's totally fair. And so that's why, I always say, regardless of the deal that you're doing, please make sure you do get it into a contract, because you're just creating so much ambiguity, so much gray area, and just a pain in the butt if someone breaches, because now we do need to go and find those payment receipts and figure out, did you ever put this in an email being like, hey, we agreed to this? Because usually when we're just moving quick and we have handshake deals, like people aren't people aren't doing their due diligence. So Winston, speaking of jury trials, if a judge disagrees with the jury verdict, can the judge set aside the jury verdict and then impose judge's verdict? Well, sort of, not really, right? If it's like a matter of opinion. Sometimes if juries are given very specific instructions, if they disregard them, if they don't follow the law, right? A judge has a discretion to set aside, and all kinds of things can happen. So yes, there are mechanisms just to make sure that the law is followed, because sometimes the jury goes wild. All right, so in any case, we went through all the videos, all the good things that you guys hopefully have seen. If you haven't seen the videos, look, why aren't you binge watching my stuff throughout the week? So please do that. All right, little homework item. And then other than that, in music land, Monster is still just, you guys are supporting the song, and I appreciate when you kind of share it and you tag me. So Monster is my last original song that I released, but obviously my thing that I was so excited about and appreciative of was just your support on the actual video, because the video was my mini movie. And, it was taking essentially a full length feature film and putting it into a 3.5-minute movie with fight scenes and explosions. I mean, it's all the goodies. So if you haven't seen that, Monster by Miss Krystle, just search it on YouTube. All right, guys, so we are doing this live. We do it live so that I can answer your questions and help you out and do all the things, because otherwise you have to hire me through my law firm, and, I'm expensive, okay? So we do this here so you can just, we can hang out and have a good time. So please ask your questions and be a part of the fam. So we're gonna jump into the newsy things. Let me see where that Orko is at in life. And that way you can come and join the conversation, because we need to speak about all things Universal. Are we ready?
Hey,
Go.
what's
It's really
good?
tall.
Yeah, my camera dropped. Everything's been kind of shifting around. I've been doing a lot more music in here, and so the setup has to be moved and adjusted from podcast land to music land to back to podcast land. So things get a little shifted. I'm almost
That's
there. I'm
right.
fine.
No, this is how I roll. So I ended up just setting up my actual workstation, and I have multiple workstations where I do my actual work, but then, I have all the lights and the camera. And so, I just have to embrace it, quite frankly, because resetting everything is just too much. And so we just roll. But you know what? It ends up helping. So when I have meetings with clients, this is what I look like on the Zoom call. And it just, it just seems a little more professional. So anyway, I'm excited because we're talking about the big Universal move.
All right.
All right, so let me tee this up. Make sure I got all my things.
You got all the stuff? You
Yeah, I
ready
think
to
I got.
go?
Yeah, ready to rock and roll?
Yeah.
Universal versus TikTok. And quite frankly, I don't know who's going to win on this one, but Universal has made the first move and done it in an extremely public way. So, my law office represents a lot of artists and bands who are signed with Universal. And so we all got a big email the night before Universal did this. And Universal basically said, "Hey guys," or fam specifically. They go, "Hey fam, we've been in discussion with Universal, and Universal's unwilling to, be reasonable." And they're like, TikTok is, and did I say Universal?
Yeah, TikTok.
Sorry. So Universal, we're starting over, Eric. Here's your note. So in the email, Universal says that they've been in discussions with TikTok, and TikTok is being super unreasonable. They are paying our artists way less than all other music platforms. And so for that reason, our contract with them is naturally expiring, and we're not going to renew. And at least as of now, we're going to be pulling the music, right? So all of our artists' music off of their platform. Now, my initial kind of little tongue-in-cheek response to that specific item of like, we're fighting for getting our artists paid. Well, most of your artists get paid very, 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 very little.
Right.
Okay. It's you getting paid. You own the
Right.
music. Like,
Right.
let's be fair here.
Right.
But setting that aside, downstream, someone's getting paid something at some point. Fine. But anyway, so we actually saw it happen. So, if you go to search for Taylor Swift and your Drakes and, Olivia Rodrigo, Ariana Grande, it's
Dunzo.
gone. All right. So, they made the move, and they're saying that TikTok is trying to bully them. And TikTok actually responded. Do you remember what TikTok said today?
They are just saying that they're just, putting forth a false narrative, with their rhetoric, and they don't really care about, putting the artist first, and they're the platform that's actually trying to put the artist first. And oh yeah, I appreciate that. Uh, yeah. This is
Yeah, so I mean, look, you don't know who to believe, and obviously, Universal decided to go in the court of public opinion, which sometimes
right.
is a strategy, right? So, for sometimes it makes sense to kind of alert the media, so to speak, if someone has a big following and it's going to get because it's a point of negotiation. We won't say intimidation, but it's definitely a point of negotiation because you're like, hey, everyone is going to see TikTok as this unreasonable monster taking advantage of artists. Is that true? I don't know, but that's definitely how Universal is describing it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just one of those things where, who's going to cave because both companies need each other. Universal holds the biggest artists, arguably, that are out in music. I mean, let's just see. While I don't think it's going to definitely agree with you, and it's not going to impact the artist's pocket, because they're getting paid so little from TikTok anyway. What it will hurt is their viral exposure. Because all of these artists are just being broken with TikTok. That's how hits are made. Like, and the fact Universal's making a huge move. The fact that they're even these record labels, they need TikTok more than ever. Like they need them. They're struggling to figure out their marketing strategies for these artists, and where they're getting broken is on TikTok. And
And not even
especially
broken. And not even broken, right? So, we've covered artists, like huge artists, who have posted that they're so upset at their record label because their label goes, "We're not going to release your song until you have your big viral moment." Right. And so,
right.
but the
So
big artists are also, they understand that there's like this big game being played. Now, Universal comes back and they're like, only 1% of our income is from TikTok. So, it's such a discrepancy, forget it. But I think you make a really good point that that's not the only benefit that you get for having your music on this platform. And I beg, just going to say, I don't think the exposure potential is the same for any other platform, at least right now,
No, for sure.
as it is
And I
for
mean,
TikTok.
think about what it does for, like catalog music. We just talked about Evanescence and how, they just hit a billion streams on Spotify. They had a billion, views for their video on YouTube and stuff like that. And then, they went viral. They had viral moments because of TikTok, because of, the all the different videos, TikTok videos that were being made. We saw Fleetwood Mac that had, its dream song go viral because some guy was on a skateboard with his,
Right, 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 right.
cranberry drink.
That's
Um,
right.
but I mean, it is make it or break it, and it's just more reasons why to have control over your music if these are things that you are concerned with, because you see a lot of artists that are re-recording their biggest hits, and that's a way of sidestepping some of this stuff later when they're talking about their catalog music. So if Universal pulls their stuff, maybe some of these artists have re-recorded it on their own terms and their own little thing, or that just could be a way. But all
Well,
these,
and
I was just
no,
saying,
sorry.
just it's not all these things are where both sides are claiming it's not about the artists. Like the artists are still kind of getting the shaft. I think the thing where they're going to really hurt the most though is with the exposure and just with the fan experience. And I don't think somebody's going to have to cave because these artists are too big, and it's going to be disruptive.
Yeah, and artists are already responding to this, right? So we have some Universal artists because not everyone is Ariana Grande, right? I don't think she's gonna, suffer too much one way or another as of now. But for other artists, and they go, this really was my marketing tactic. I cannot
Right.
promote my own music because
Right.
my music is not on this platform anymore. And so, those effects are definitely being felt already, especially for the artists who take marketing super seriously, not as a vanity thing, but just simply as a way to promote themselves, right? To promote them as
Sure.
businesses. So I get it from all standpoints. Now, how long is this, going to last, right? We're within the 24-48 hour window of this
They
kind of going into play.
I'll tell you what, I actually didn't think that it was gonna go down. I was pretty shocked this morning when I, got up and actually took a look on there to see if they were still there, and they were gone. Um, I think it's pretty interesting that you don't really see this too much. Where I mean, it's a huge move. It's a huge move for Universal to play this game. You know what I mean? Like, um, we'll see what happens. I mean, I predicted they're gonna figure this out in the next couple of days, because you got to just think of the money daily that's being lost or potential, you know what I mean? They're so concerned with getting, just based on how many times a Taylor Swift or a Drake song or a BTS song, or Olivia Rodrigo song is used in, and those are just the major artists. This is all of Universal. There's a lot of artists on Universal.
Yeah, and I think it's estimated that it's between 30 and 40% of the content on TikTok is music related. Obviously, it's not all universal music, but it's a heavily music based platform as of now. And so I don't know. A part of me feels like TikTok still has the advantage here.
Yeah,
And ultimately
I
we're gonna
agree.
see whether the music pops back up and they're able to come to terms. But for me, I was just the goal of Universal.
It's
And
crazy. What if it goes deep? What if it goes deeper than this, right? So what if they, because I mean they're both kind of calling each other out, and they're not like, they're not choosing their words very carefully, or very much. They're kind of just throwing out there how they feel, both sides. What if it goes, can the label, can Universal say to these artists, okay, we need you to pull your platform from TikTok, because you know what I mean? Because we don't want anything to do, not, we're going to go so far as not even just to take our music off TikTok, but we're also going to pull Taylor Swift. We're going to have to pull your account from TikTok.
yeah, I don't see it going that far, but I mean, to your point, I guess that's kind of so, do you think some heavy hitters might buy out the contacts and go elsewhere, right? So that same kind of thing. I don't know. Here's the thing. It's so nice that big record labels can go in and separately negotiate their deals. For all the independent artists out there who don't get to play that game, you just have to sign the terms of service. You are subject to whatever it is. You're really not getting paid, quite frankly, at least as of now, for your stuff being on the platform. You might, eventually, so it's nice that they can play these games and actually get a good deal potentially. Ike says, can the artist buy the right to use their music on TikTok? Well, so the point that I was kind of making is, it's funny that Universal's like, we're fighting for the artist rights. These agreements with Universal stereotypically usually say Universal owns the music. So it's not, and the artist will get maybe like 14% of net, a very, 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 very tiny percent of earnings. And so, as far as the artist's ability to like go and buy the music, no, they can't because they don't own it anymore. So
Um, I,
what do you predict is going to happen from here?
well, actually, I think there's going to be a wave of, depending on how long this goes, you're going to see some of your favorite artists doing acoustic performances and a lot of live just singing of their songs to
Oh,
make
that's
create
funny.
sounds to upload.
That's
They'll
funny.
you know what I mean? There'll be ways, and I mean, people always kind of find ways of sneaking things on there or whatever, but it is a big move, and I wonder how all the artists are feeling about it. You know what I mean? Just they have to explain it to all the artists on the roster that are like, dude, like what the like what's going on? I'm not signed up for this. Like, cool, like you're fighting for what, $2 extra? Like you're not really giving me anything on it anyway, when you're just kind of, I don't know.
Yeah, and my final thought here is not actually knowing what the numbers are, not knowing, what side is kind of being more truthful than the other. If TikTok is outrageously underpaying compared to other music platforms, then yeah, I would probably take the same stance and be like, you better get on board. Universal definitely needs to have that negotiation power to get TikTok to come back. So we'll see what happens. I think they're gonna have to get kind of creative here,
I think
and
we're
there would
gonna
need
see
to
their
be
music soon.
well, and there would need to be additional moves because maybe, yeah, it would be something like Ariana Grande's getting off the TikTok platform because she came up with a deal with Universal to make that move to put pressure on TikTok.
Right.
So anyway, this is not the end of this. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our updates on this, and we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah,
Yep, yep,
totally.
yep, yep.
Totally. Like, but no, that's what I was just thinking. Just like, are they gonna, because when you sign to a record label, they're gonna have access to your social media and all your stuff. Like, just how hard. Because I'm just saying, just because these companies they're not being very nice in the press about what they're saying about each other, and just because things get heated and ridiculous, and then you just like, well, you know what? Well, I'm doing this now. Like
You don't want to jam with me? I think I'm a little offended.
peanut butter and jam.
All right, let's move on. You ready? Let me get a little sippy with my giant cup.
Yeah, the giant cup. That cup totally blocks out your entire face.
Sorry, my thing
Oh,
is
so here you go.
freezing.
Did you pull up the screens of the things that you needed to just go ahead and get them ready? Because we seem to
Well, and in fact, everything is kind of
preemptive.
freezing, so I gotta give her just a sec to catch up. So
Well, this is a perfect opportunity for everybody to hit that like button if you haven't already. From wherever you're watching us from, you can always come over right here to where we're broadcasting, which is the Top Music Attorney YouTube. We also have a newsletter that everybody, I'm assuming, is already signed up for. If you are signed up for our newsletter, put a big thumbs up in the chat. But you can go ahead and sign up for that, where you get all kinds of fun stuff weekly.
all right, there we go. And now I do. There we go. And I was teasing my friend. Sorry, my humor is dry
No,
and emphasis free.
it's as
All
dry
right, here we
as
go.
I need a sippy. A little sipster. What are we doing? Story 2?
Yeah. I bet you guys would be interested to see what a $10,000 trademark application looks like. I'm going to show you. And this one is for Taylor Swift, who, of course, we cover a ton on this channel, even react to her music videos. But she just filed, and by she, I mean her attorney just filed for a new trademark, and it's called, and something called, Taylor Con. And we're not really clear about what this is, but from our investigation, it seems to be these events that her fans have been setting up, and it's not just a one-off. They've been kind of there's a few of them. So we're gonna speculate on what's going on here, but I'm gonna show you what this insane trademark application looks like. Let me share my screen. Here we go. All right, in fact, let me just see if I can make this a little bigger so you can see it even better. All right, there we go. So Taylor Con, this is the trademark, okay? And it goes, the owner is TAS, Rights Management, LLC. This company is based in Nashville, Tennessee. This is an LLC. Now, this is the part that makes this thing so expensive. Now, Taylor's paying probably about $1,000 to her attorney just to file this and to put this all together. But what happens is when you file, the government fee is about $350 per class.
Wow.
And we're going to look at how many classes she has. So Taylor Con, she's filing for related to class 4, which is for candles, as well as class 9. And then this definition for 9 is all the things, but basically it's music. But it goes on to talk about its music, downloadable media, video recordings, a series of videos. So you can see it's very in depth here of all the things. Now, one thing I'll point out to you guys is that here, all of these classes are 1B. 1B means an intent to use. So she's not currently using this. This is why we're like, what's this for? What's it going to be? So this is how we get insight of what it could potentially be for. So we have another class, which is 14. This is jewelry, bracelets. All right. So she has her friendship bracelets. Maybe it's like a Taylor Con special, jewelry line that she's coming out with. Section 15, guitar picks.
Wow.
Also musical instruments, guitars, music boxes. Class 16. And this is a blank writing journal, right? We have printed notebooks, writing paper, stationery
She knows how she wants her merch.
Okay, we have
Listen,
class
this is a master class for everybody out there of wondering what kind of items to sell. Just get a copy of what she's registering, what all the kind of items that Taylor Swift wants to sell, to get yourself ideas of what kind of items that are making millions upon millions.
Well, and it keeps on going. So we have class 18, which is backpacks and handbags, messenger bags. Class 21, beverages, coffee cups, teacups,
Napkin
travel
rings.
mugs. Class 24, towels, blanket throws. Class 25. So this is the clothing class. This one's really popular. But clothing, so tops.
Masks.
Yeah, t-shirts, pullover hoodies, and actually, so footwear, shoes. Class 26, cell phone accessories. Class 28, stuffed toys. Class 35, a retail store. So this would be the actual website. This is probably going to be the thing where they sell all these things, if not in person. Class 41, this is basically live events. Okay, so this is where we can speculate for a second. So We know Class 41, a live event. Do you think that Taylor Swift and her brand, they're just going to take over this and it's going to be a Taylor Con and she will start putting on these events and here's all the stuff that she's going to sell
Absolutely.
with that branding?
I mean, I think that's it's a no-brainer. I mean, because like the one that you were saying, there's fan-run Taylor cons that are going all over, and there's one that's I think it's in Dallas or something that's about to happen this March or coming up March. It's already sold out, which is not affiliated with Taylor Swift and at all. These fan-made things are huge events. We've covered Taylor Swift cruises, unofficial cruises, and all kinds of things. And I mean having a Taylor con, the official thing, I think is just going to be insane. We saw what happened when she went into movie theaters, how she completely, took over and changed the game for how movie theaters are, conducting these events. And now you're seeing, not that we didn't have them before, but now you're seeing more artists following in suit. I think it's smart. I think it's totally smart. If it's one thing we know about Taylor, she knows how to make a buck.
Yeah. So anyway, you can see the filing fee is $350, number of classes 13. So the total filing fee was $4,500, and that's separate from anything else that she paid her attorney, which is probably a little more than your standard attorney. So there's all that. So we're gonna see, maybe the Taylor Con is going to be her new political rally that she's going to launch, where she can get people to come and register. I mean, look, we have all kinds of
Listen,
conversation floating around. How is Taylor Swift going to be affecting this election?
I'll tell you, and it's not even just that, which she absolutely will have an effect one way or another on the election. I'm not a Taylor Swift fan. I'm not trying to, as far as I'm trying to like advocate and saying all this stuff. She gets numbers. She got so many people to register to vote. She makes impacts on stuff. I think she's going to have effect on this, UMG TikTok things. Her people are having a conversation. Like she's in the mix of some of those conversations. I just don't believe that she's not.
And what do you guys think? For those of you watching, how powerful is Taylor Swift? As arguably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, artist right now in the world. She's kind of at the height of her popularity. Obviously, she did weigh in with the election on the last go around, and she has a big influence, and she's not afraid to share her opinion. And at a minimum, she's just like, hey, let's get people out to go vote. Like whoever you vote for, that's cool.
Right.
But I think that if she came out and specifically was endorsing someone, I mean, I think that this could have a pretty big effect.
And it just on everything, and just to help bring awareness, because everything that she does commands attention. And I'm kind of curious to see what happens in the next like 10-15 years of her career, when maybe she decides she wants to kind of relax more, because she has like Oprah money and all kinds of stuff, and what kind of things she wants to do, or like maybe she ends up becoming running for president one day or something. Just that it just you can't, because you can't ignore, she knows how to run her career and the impact on what she continues to have. Now, I mean, just even across the NFL, you see the impact that she has everywhere. And people can say they're sick of her, but she's not doing things. She's just showing up places. It's the media, because the media keeps making money whenever they're doing Taylor Swift content.
Right.
So it's advertising dollars, baby. It's all money.
Yeah. So anyway, back to this trademark and Taylor Con. I mean, this could just be that sometimes we just will file something because we want to get it before other people start being able to use it or
I think it's
to
great.
do anything with it. And so this might just be more like a big Taylor focused event. But I really am curious because remember, this is intent to use. We don't know what this is for yet.
It's a pop-up shop. I'm telling
Yeah.
it's a pop-up event. I could see Taylor Con going on tour, and what it is because she makes so much money from her merch, just kind of like, like the shops go, Taylor or Tyler the Creator stuff, or LaFleur. They go on tour and they open these pop-up shops for like, a couple weeks or whatever like that. I can see Taylor Swift. She doesn't even have to be there. All it is just big giant merch tours and event tours and the special things, and where they have little events and photo opportunities. So it's just a big social media event, being Taylor Con that goes on tour. Like I totally can see that, and just making money in the background for her. She doesn't even have to show up. She just records a couple videos, takes a
That's
couple
right.
exclusive pictures, makes an exclusive mix that you can only, or of an album that you can only buy at the Taylor Con pop-up shop, not available online. Yeah, 3 hour
Yeah.
lines.
So then, for those of you watching, leave your comment down below. Do you think Taylor Swift is going to have an impact on the election? All right.
I think that was
Well,
literally the most political we've ever got on the show.
that's right. Look at me taking liberties. I'm curious. I want to
Listen,
know. I want to know what people think, especially for those who are fans of hers. And maybe there's just an
yeah,
indifference of like, no, I don't. Celebrities. Who cares what they think?
yeah.
Like,
No, that's
some
that's
people
my
feel that
point.
way.
Like, I'm saying love her or hate her. I'm saying if you're saying that she's not going to have an impact, you're kidding yourself. Like that, that's just my point. Like whether or not you agree with her stance or you would like to see it or you think celebrities do. I mean, she puts butts in seats, man. She gets people to sign up to vote.
Indeed, she does. All right, so we got some music business, supercharged
Zippy.
information to help you guys, and this is, even if you're not a musician or an artist, this is stuff that's really going to help you. Now, I should forewarn you
Hold on real
that
quick.
I took a little, I took some liberties.
We got this guy on here. He goes, I do, but I also think it relevant in the current economy since people vote from the wallet. And it just brought up the word economy. We've covered stories of how Taylor Swift has positively impacted the country just from her tours and stuff, and how she brings money to each city that she. I'm saying she has
Yeah,
a huge effect everywhere that she goes.
yeah, yeah. Only buy genuine Taylor Swift merch. Yes, it'll definitely, she will have an impact. Yeah. I wish the comments would come in faster, like through our platform. I know you guys are leaving these and there's a tiny bit of a delay. But anyway, thank you for the feedback. I like it.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So anyway, I was just forewarning you. I kind of changed this around a little bit. So just
Forewarning me.
Yeah.
All right, this is the part of the show where we go with the flow and we're running off the rails. We're off the
Okay.
rails.
Why not?
Hit it.
For me, I'm all about making this year the best year of my career, of my business. And so there are things that I actually put into play before the end of the year that are already working. And I'm excited to share what those are. And I know that Orko is also implementing some of this stuff. So I guess let's just kind of jump into it. When we're talking about making this the absolute best year, the first method that I'll mention is I kind of call this the quarter hack. So, the whole, let's look at the year, 12 months. What are we going to do? Let's be clear on our goals. That's overly simplified. So this is how we actually create a method to execute in a way that will result in progress, in better relationships, more money, more followers, all the things. So the quarter hack is essentially taking the 12 months and thinking in 12 months, what do you want to be celebrating?
I
Okay.
like
So
that.
this might be you're launching a new side project, you have a new band, you have a new thing. And so maybe in 12 months, you want to be celebrating that you released an album. And so maybe on that album, what would be fair? What's a good goal? 7 songs, 10 songs?
Yeah, I mean, 7 songs is now the album minimum. So, I
Okay. So
mean,
we're going to,
I I like it. I like a 10
all right.
for an
So you're going to
album.
have a 10 song album. You would have done, let's even conservatively 6 to 8 shows, right? So they're going to be really good shows, not throw away like, karaoke nights, but like really good shows. Or you have other goals, right? So maybe it's just physical. Maybe you want to get healthier so you have more energy to do the things that you love. And so whatever those goals are from now, you go in 12 months, I'm going to be celebrating those goals. Well, how do we do that? And the way that I do it is that you break it into 4 quarters, right? So 3 months, and you reverse engineer, right? So kind of what I've set for myself, and you can chime in on your thoughts on this. But quarter one of this year is about fixing the business.
Hmm.
Okay. So we always talk about think like a record label. And so for your music career and what you're trying to do, think in the way that a label would, in that we want to make sure people see your music, buy your music, come to your show, and to monetize yourself so you make money. And you're not just kind of complacently sitting back, you make the music, you put it on the platforms, and then it just, makes you some
Right.
sense. And then we're like frustrated that we don't make music from or money
Right.
from our careers.
Right.
And so getting a lot more tactful. So quarter one is about just fixing what is broken right now in how you do what you do and how you make money. And so you're going to spend the next 3 months, and your whole life's goal is to figure that out and actually put something into play. And then quarter two, and I'm speaking more for myself, but this is a good path to follow. Quarter two would be to amplify your message, right? So how do we actually get the message, meaning your music, your voice, if you are on a mission, because I have people I work with who are like, I'm super spiritual and I want that message to come through with the music. So, amplify the message. Quarter three, increase the revenue. So then we're going to actually be making money because we fixed the problems in quarter one. And then quarter four for me, I have ... I haven't decided yet. So that's how I think through how do we actually achieve the goals. For you, what's part of your hacks for actually achieving goals that you set for yourself?
I think the most important thing, the one that I'm still kind of focusing on for myself, is the first one, which is fixing the mistakes and still doing reevaluating and putting in systems. This is something that we can go years before we actually take a look at what we're doing and things that we're doing wrong. And even today, like I had to reevaluate something that I was doing for a long time that I just kind of put in autopilot. Uh, but I think that is key, because you need to look at your numbers. You need to be looking at your analytics. You need to be seeing about how much money you put out, how much money you actually brought in, see where those gaps were, and look at that stuff, and what could you have done, knowing now this is where you were from last year or last quarter or whatever it is you want to start from. um is key, because if you don't set yourself up, if you don't have a clean workstation, it's going to be very hard for you to start writing and to start doing things. So is it, you got to get your office set up, you need to get your studio set up, not I don't mean perfect, you got to buy a whole bunch of shit, but I'm saying having a workstation. Have you been looking at your website lately? Have you looked at your links lately? Have you took a look at your social media? Are you looking at other people's social media to see what works and what doesn't work? And are you applying that to your stuff? Have you made schedules for yourself? Are you keeping them? Like,
And in fact, I'll say for those of you who are watching right now live, drop a comment and let us know in 12 months, what do you want to be celebrating? But no, I love that. So it's not just kind of, setting goals of where,
yeah,
what you want to be excited about and celebrating in 12 months, but how are you actually going to do it? Because if you don't take control over all the aspects of your life, then you are now a
right.
victim to everything that happens to you, because you have allowed all these external things to be the thing that has
Well,
control over your life and your reactions.
you're like, it's like you're drowning. You're always just going to be, you're going to be getting a little up, and then the things that you didn't fix are going to be pulling you back down. You got to get yourself into a good starting point. Now that doesn't mean take off 3 months and don't do anything else that you're supposed to be doing, because you're just working on the plan to fix things. But it means that you do have to take that time, and that is huge. And once you kind of get to a place that you are, once you get that kind of worked out, like, everything else will fall better, because you're already working from a good place. Like, what is that saying? It's like, with every tweak that you make, you want to make it just a little bit better, like 1 or 2%. And so, by the end of, your first quarter, you've already 30%, 40% better than you were, previously when you started. So it's huge.
Yeah, and a great resource for just, Atomic Habits. It's such a
Yeah,
good
Atomic
book, and
Habit.
it's a quick listen as well if you wanna listen on Audible. We both have gone through that one. It's just great for as far
Really
as
good.
getting yourself going, so you can just execute on everything you want to accomplish and then actually accomplish it. So that's method 1, which is the quarter hack. Method 2,
They
I call
amplify the
this...
message.
Well, right, and just kinda how to go through this, but method 2 is, I call this the pie of your life.
Mm.
So, I have drawn a diagram, and then you probably
Oh,
won't be able to see this too well. So you draw a little pie for yourself, and
I like pie.
in that, you're gonna have kind of your categories of what matters the most to you. And so, for example, you might have body and mind, right? So just physical wellness. You might have spirituality. So that's kind of like one category. So for me, it's body and mind. Another one's going to be your identity. So meaning, how are you showing up every day? Are you showing up as the person that you want to be, right?
Yeah.
Another one is going to be money. How much money do you have? How much money do you want to be making? Another is going to be just your general growth. How important is that to you, that you learn something and that you get better, or that you just improve something? And then lastly, your social life, which, in that is going to be romance, family, friends. So in that, what you do, the tactic is that you draw out a little pie chart, and then you have these different categories, and then you're going to number each of them from 1 to 10. And I promise that if you actually do this and like pause this video later and go back, but actually draw it out, and in each of the categories, put in a number. And so for me, for example, it's very like, whoa, when you look at it, and I go from 1 to 10 of where I think I am for each of these categories. For example, on identity, on like showing up and being the person I want to be and all that, I feel like I'm a 6. I feel like I have some work to do, because it's the consistency of how often I show up as that person. For my body and mind, and just
Mm.
kind of how well I'm doing and my health and all the stuff, like a 7. doing pretty good. Still a lot of room for improvement. On my general growth, 5. My social life, that's probably the worst. It's like a 2 as far as just it being a priority for me, making time for it. Money, like a 9, because it's where I put a ton of my attention for my music businesses and trying to monetize and all of that.
Mm.
It's very, very important. So it's high on my list. So I don't know if you're writing one out right now as we're chatting. I'd be curious what you had.
Yeah,
So
no,
I was
uh, yeah, no, I mean, I'm looking. I didn't really number it. I didn't really do the pie thing. I'm just kind of writing what you had, and I'm just trying to think about what order I would kind of put my
Yeah, well,
priorities
and
at.
let's and I'll remind you. So, give me the so for body and mind, spirituality, 1 to 10. What do you got?
I don't know, what is that, like a 3?
Okay. And
It's
is and knowing that it's a 3, how do you feel about that? Do you feel like that's something, whatever, you're fine with that, or do you want that to be
No, it's
changed?
something that I wanna be changed, but, that I would like to work on, but I just know myself, and I know, like, if I was putting my list of priorities, that is actually probably more towards the bottom, and I think that's probably like a lot of people, but then that's also part of the problem, is that if I'm not taking care of my body and my mind, how do I expect to accomplish all the growth and all the, hard work, as if I'm not at my core, you know? I mean, so I guess a goal should be the things that I'm having the harder time with. I guess my goal number for the year or something should be higher than for the things that I have a harder time with, because I'd wanna work on those more.
Well, right. So we're doing the gut check of the pie right now. Where is it at, and how do we feel about it? So then the next one was for your identity, the kind of person that you want to be, and what's the number that you would assign to it of are you that person right now? Do you show up as that person every day? 1 to 10.
Mm, like a 6,
Okay.
right? Does that sound about right? You know me, like, I feel like a 6.
Well,
I don't know. I guess identity is
you have to
different.
judge it.
I guess a different. I guess I don't really think about that. Or do you think that I think about that? I don't really think I really
I
think
don't
about
think
that
you
that
think
much.
about so I don't think a lot of us think about this stuff, and that's
Yeah,
why this is a really helpful tactic to actually get what you want this year, because then we go into, for example, your social life. You're like, no, it's totally a 10. Well, maybe that's the problem, right? Maybe you're
yeah.
dedicating
That's
all of
well,
your
I'm
time and
like
effort
you.
to hanging out, and I have people tell me this, like, my friend, they're going through a divorce and they keep asking to hang out, and I don't have time to work on my stuff because I just have a few hours after work every day. Go, that's your problem. You're too nice of a person. Sorry. Like, you really need to be able to delineate the time and how you're doing it. So this is a really helpful exercise. So please make sure you actually go through this, because, I do this quite frankly like once a week. I reflect on the week
Mm,
and I go, how did I show up this week? Did I hit my goals? Where did I fail? Where am I going to do better next week? And so I'm constantly like doing a gut check. So that's the pie of your life strategy. But then based on that, and when you're looking at these numbers later, what is the joy that you generally have in your life? That's the other big piece here. And you go, cool, I'm killing it and I'm making all my money and I'm super awesome. My identity's great. I think I'm great. But then, how happy are you?
mm.
So then you put a number to that 1 to
What,
10, because
happiness? Yeah.
joy, that's the word we're using, joy.
Oh.
And so in your music career, from what you're doing, how many shows you're doing, you're going to have a number from like a realistic standpoint of like how are you doing in life, right? But
Mm,
generally, how are you feeling? Because this goes to the process, and I always go back to this for everything. I go, if my next music video, my next song, my next project completely fails or blows up and it's the next biggest thing on the planet, for me, none of that matters if I have a horrible time going through it, because that's my life. Like, those were my
right.
moments either way, regardless of the end result. And so that's why we definitely put a number to the joy that we're feeling.
Well, joy is a big one for me. I'd put that, what, like an 8? Like, I like joy.
That's if that's the case, then yeah.
I just wanna be happy. I just like being happy, and, like, my biggest, if I had to go through the list of the things that you like, my most important things would probably be the joy, the growth, and the personal, like, just like the other kind of things, but I guess growth kind of encapsulates all of it as well, so, I
Right.
don't know.
All right.
What
So,
I need
but
to work
but I
on.
we're doing this to kind of prime you, because then method number
Mm,
3 is your daily visualizations. And I want to say this because I was talking to someone who was looking at starting their music business, and they, just were super excited, and there was all this like genuine passion of I'm going to figure this out, and I kind of don't even want to tell people about it just yet, because I don't want people to poo poo on my idea or give me their thoughts. I just want to do it. And so what I say is the book The Secret by Rhonda Byrne, read it, listen to it. It's a pretty short listen and it will change your life, because the way for you to get to, let's say, six figures, we talk about it practically on this
Mm,
channel, the methods, right? Social media, your contracts, all that stuff. But a part of what's gonna get you to actually do it is these visualization methods. So for example, you do a little bit of like visualization, meditation and
sure,
stuff, right?
sure,
Okay. So basically, what this book talks about is you need to visualize the person that you want to be, not as in that person is in the future, but that person is right now. And so
right,
you go, when I get up from sitting here quietly listening to my wave sounds or whatever it is, I'm going to be that person. And you work on that every single day. And by doing that, it changes you energetically. It starts to rewire your brain, and you literally become this person before you even realize it, because you're like, no, it's not in the future, it's now. And
right,
for me, this literally is what happened for me, for some of the biggest financial jumps that I made with my music businesses was because I just got kind of fed up. I'm like, I don't make enough money.
right,
Like I work so hard, and
right.
at the end of the day, I've only made like a certain amount of money, and this, I don't know, this doesn't work for me anymore. And so I just became this like, no, I make this higher amount, and then it just started
You just
happening
thought,
because,
right,
yeah, because all of a sudden now my brain started opening up. I was like, oh, I should do this, I should do that, and energetically stuff that just started coming to me. So it's a real thing. But if you want to kind of get a jump start and like, how do I do this? The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. And just meditation in general, getting your brain under control, because for a lot of our students, they talk so much about, I started something, I tried something with social
mhm.
media, and I just couldn't keep myself going, and I got burnt out, or then I got, I didn't post the thing, I made all the content, I just didn't post it because I was just like, I was kind of hating on myself.
Well, I mean, it just in like you're saying, as also, as you're going through and setting your goals for the year and your quarterly goals and just different things. One thing that you like to do and stuff is to celebrate the wins, you know what I mean? Like and to recognize, something I think we all should be doing to help us get into that mindset of being that person that we want is when we have something that did well or every day or just something that we're kind of proud of that we accomplished, or if we have at least one thing that we're accomplishing that we'd be like, that made me feel good, and like recognizing it to yourself. I think that's also really important, just to kind of finding things to reinforce the path that you're on, and then celebrating the little wins with yourself, whatever that means to you.
Yeah. Yeah, and on the actual execution piece of how to really promote yourself on social media, I'm going to give you a great resource for that here coming up. But so that's the method number 3, which is your daily visualizations. And for number 4, it's actually leveraging information, because what I find for so many people that I work with, whether I'm representing them as their attorney or they're our student, is that they have a informational gap, which is
Mm,
where they are
yeah,
squandering their
right,
time.
for
And
sure.
so, as a music producer, you're like, I don't know how to get my stuff in, TV and film and games. And so you just don't know that information.
And
And
then
so
they
you have
and
all
then
this
you're
great music.
and never will take action because you just don't know. And a year would go down the line and you didn't even try to find the information, and all that time you're just like, I don't know how to do this. And then you just let time go by.
Yeah, and because you're frustrated,
Right.
which is so understandable, and trust me, like the technical issues we run into when we're just trying to record a
Right.
song, and just like the headache of an hour of the stupid wire or the,
There's always something.
glitching and stuff, and now you just don't even wanna do the stupid thing because you're so
Yeah.
frustrated. We
Right.
get it. But
Yeah.
anyway, so but specifically the information. You investing into your education specifically and taking the time to learn the things is more valuable than
Yeah.
anything else you're gonna do, because that's gonna be the thing that gets you to be able to think now like a record label, to be able to make money. We want you to be able to monetize your skill set, your music, all the things, but you got to learn about the music business. So for those of you who are on this channel, give this video a thumbs up, because you're watching it, you're here, you're awesome, and that's what we do. All right, we're trying to gamify all this so you can actually make your dreams a reality. But it comes with the stuff that we're talking about. So I had promised, pro tip, the video, search it, Top Music Attorney. It's the 5 best ways to promote your music in 2024. We'll link it at the in this video as well, just to make it easy for you. But you definitely want to watch this, as far as these are some of my absolute best tactics that I've used. I used it for my
Mm.
last big song release, and it got like an insane amount of traffic
Dude,
to the song, the video. Like so,
lots
go
of
watch
gems.
that. But in the meantime, for this year, The goal of this video was to help give you some methods so you can make this year the absolute best for your music career. And these are the methods for you to do it, because once you're in the right mental space, you are unstoppable because you'll implement all the other stuff that we teach you.
Awesome.
There we go. Eric can cut out that last second. My bad. Okay, good stuff. Good stuff. Hey, good. Yes, go watch the video. It's on the old tube here. All right, Orko, what else we got?
That's pretty much it. But I can check in with you guys after on the wrap up. I think you got another little guy there. Oh, you know what? What am I thinking? I keep forgetting about all of this. I don't know if you guys know, but like,
Your #1 legal resource for artists, producers, and record labels. Get contract templates, one-on-one legal advice, free masterclasses, and everything you need for your music business. Go to topmusicattorney.com. It's like red pen, so attorney-like in the comments. Actually, no, I am the only attorney that I know that has the red pen. And quite frankly, I should be the only one because it's my brand, right? I'm the redhead attorney. What happens when I take the rest of the red out of my hair? Uh-oh, I'm not gonna be able to say that anymore. I'm gonna just have to keep the red in for the rest of my life. What have I done? So you guys seem to always be interested in understanding and learning about record labels versus distribution deals and all the things in between. So that's what we're going to be talking about. So let's get going. For those of you who are still watching, drop some fire emojis. I need a little juice. I need a little love. All right, we got to bless the vocal cords to get through this next and final segment effortlessly. So let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. All right. Whilst you guys are doing that and giving me your good vibes and good energy, thank you very much. All right, all right, all right. I appreciate you. Give me the vitamin F fire emoji. You're wonderful. Thank you very much. All right, guys. I appreciate you. Let's do this. A very popular question that I get is record label deals versus distribution deals. Which one should we do? What makes us more money? What makes more sense? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you all the juicy details. First, we're going to start by discussing the record label deals and the pros versus the cons. So starting with the pros, look, obviously, if you are signing with a record label that is a legit record label and has a budget behind it, and can invest in your music career, there's a financial upside because you're going to have a label that can help to pay for things. Now, caveat, if you are signing with a label that is not all of those things that I just defined, and it's a small label and they don't have a budget and they're not going to be investing, well, keep that in mind when you consider whether to sign with them. All right, another pro. Industry connections. And I think that a lot of artists, see this as so incredibly valuable because artists go, I don't know the PR companies. I don't know the radio people and the show promoters. And so the label can come in, make an introduction, send my EPK, get me on these things. Amazing. And again, if it's a label that has those things, then great, right? So definitely another pro. Another one, marketing, promotion, right? So again, the label typically is going to step in to help us do all the things that we don't know how to do for ourselves. And so that is a huge upside and why we want to sign with a label, because in our minds, that's what they're going to do for us. Of course, artist development, not as much these days. Labels don't do this as much. They really want to pluck you, out of not obscurity, but they want to pluck you out of continual growth that you have created for yourself and hype and buzz. So that's usually all the great things of the record label relationship. On the flip side, the cons. Well, all that stuff that I just said might not be the case for the label that you're signing with. So please do your due diligence. Please do your research on the label that you are signing with, especially if they've popped up out of the blue, right? And they're like, hey, Sean, I would love to sign you to my label and I'm going to give you $100,000 and you've never heard of this label. You've never heard of this person. There's no reason they should be making you an offer. There might be a scam happening. So please look into that. But on the flip side, some of the legitimate cons with real record labels is that they're going to be bossy, right? Their whole job is to tell you what to do and to control your music and not allow it to come out because they don't want to waste money if they don't believe in the music, if they don't think it's going to do well. So they've taken your creative liberty away from you. It doesn't mean they're not going to let you make your songs. They'll let you make your songs. They're just not going to let you release them. And so, those kinds of things happen. People get shelved, they get very frustrated. And so understand that you're losing kind of that business and creative control. Another con might be just, the revenue sharing, right? You sign with a record label. Typically, if it's like a mid-tier to a big boy like Universal, you might get 14%, 16%, maybe a little bit more. And that's of net. So remember, we're, the label's bankrolling, like we just talked about, huge upside. We're excited. They're paying $50,000 for your music video. Well, guess who's paying back that $50,000? You are, from the earnings of your music. So you don't get paid until the label gets paid back. And then after that, which is net profits, you get your little 14%. So obviously it's that you don't really make a whole lot of money from it. Another con might be just the ownership. Might be. The other con is a definite, you're losing ownership of your music. There are some labels out there. They are so rare. And I'm always like, are you sure this is how you want to do this deal? But there are labels out there that will do, licensing and some hybrid kind of things, with artists. But typically, the label takes 100% of the ownership. And, reasonably speaking, they do that because they're making this investment of time and money and all this stuff. And they have no guarantee that your music is going to take off. So you really can't negotiate that, and you just need to understand what it's going to be. If you're cool with it and they're going to own the stuff, then do it. But to understand, that's probably more of a con. And then, of course, just the contractual restrictions, and please get an attorney to review your contract. If y'all are getting these contracts and signing them without getting them reviewed, you are signing away your firstborn, your blood, your sweat and tears, yeah. So you want to get someone to come in and take a little look at that for you. So that's, the record label relationship. So then let's flip over to distributors, right? So we know music distributors are gatekeepers for us to get our music onto music platforms. That's just how it is right now, right? There's no getting around it. So there are different tiers of distributors. There are ones that you can just get your stuff uploaded real quick, right? Like a DistroKid, CD Baby, Symphonic, and the one that I'm personally working with right now, which is Pream Digital, preamdigital.com. They're great. But anyway, so you can just upload your music, right? Go to all the music platforms. Those platforms pay the distributor, they pay you, great. But then what we can do with higher level distributors is that potentially a pro would be, they might help you. They might help pitch your music, right? They might help with getting you some interviews. And, financially, most of the time you're getting a whole lot more of the money. So whereas with the record label situation, you're getting a very little amount after they get paid back. But with a distributor, they typically are going to give you 80%. You can even negotiate up to 90% of the revenue. So they're really just taking a small percentage of the monies. That's great. You retain creative control. So you're the boss, right? They're not the ones controlling your life. So you just decide when you're releasing your music, what are you releasing, how you doing it. They don't really have a say in any of that. And there's a lot more flexibility. It's definitely a pro with doing a deal with a distributor in that, you just have the ability to control all aspects of your career. And they're just really looking to take a percentage of what you're doing. Now, the downside, there's always going to be, downsides to these things. So, a downside might be less financial support. They're not coming in and trying to make you a big star necessarily. Some companies you can have a better relationship with, especially if you're doing your thing and you have a great following and hype and buzz and all this kind of thing. But they're typically going to invest less money. Another con is that, DIY marketing, they might not be the best marketers. They might not be able to help you with marketing in any kind of way. And also they're not really industry connected in that, they're going to help you to get on shows. They're going to get you collaborations, right? Now, you may ask, well, what do you think I should do? Well, look, I would start with, well, what opportunities do you have right now? Okay, do you have someone making an offer from a record label? Do you have a distributor that is offering you something that is not just kind of like this DIY, just get your music on music platforms? Is it more of because some distributors will come in, they'll pay you in advance, right, to do a deal with you, and then they'll help you to negotiate other things, and to get you on, Spotify playlists, and to get you some interviews and things like that. So obviously look at the opportunities that are in front of you. But what I love beyond anything else with the distribution deals is that you retain ownership of your music. That's a huge one that is missed very commonly because, we don't expect our music to ever fail, right? We're not like, I'm going to be the loser that released my music and, stayed in my mom's basement and never did anything. Like, no, we're working to try to have our music actually take off and do something exciting. And for a lot of us, it just might. We have to keep working. We have to hustle. We have to release and be consistent. So when your song goes viral and becomes really popular, if you don't own it, you don't get any of the back end opportunities that come with that, which includes selling the music, right? So what these labels do is that they hold on to the music, make you a big star, and then they sell the music later on for a premium. You don't get to see any of that money. So I think for those of you who are deciding to go more of the independent route, including becoming your own label, right? You just become your own music business. If you can create all the things that we just talked about with the benefits of the label, which is they get the money. And P.S., it's not that they give you free money, right? They're like a bank. So you can go get a loan. So you can still get the money. You can learn how to do your music marketing. You can get your music into TV and film, right? I teach you how to do that on the channel. You can learn all of these things and to become your own label. That's why I say just become your own label. But it's a lot more work. So, if you're willing to put in the work and become, an independent artist that really hustles and you have your own thing, that means you retain ownership of your music. You're going to make more money. You have all the control. But there's nothing wrong with signing with a label. If you know all the things I just said to you and you go, you know what? I do want the label to take charge. I'm cool with that. Let's go. Where do I sign? Great. I'm just wanting to make sure that you guys are incredibly clear on what it is that you are signing and what it is that you are doing because, these contracts end up being very, very long. And, that's the other thing. And that's, I would say, like the final tip that I'll say to keep in mind between these two things. The record label contracts are typically as long as humanly possible, especially if you don't catch it. Especially if you don't have an attorney negotiating this down for you. They'll keep you in the contract for like 5 years, 10 years, as long as humanly possible because you're the investment. They don't want you going somewhere else. They want to be able to keep you under their umbrella. Versus a distributor, we usually are like doing way shorter terms. It might just be a few years at most, right? And you can terminate and you can do all of these things. So how long you are agreeing to the relationship is important. But that's why I go back to like, if someone just out of the blue is like, hey, I just want to do a deal with you, sign this contract. Why would you do that? Don't sign a contract with someone that you don't know or a company you haven't worked with, especially if they're putting pressure on you. One of my clients, they're like, you have to fly out to this other country, literally. You have to fly out to this other country to meet our whole team and we're going to invest all this money and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what's the rush? That just seems really odd. So with that all being said, whatever opportunity you have right now, great. If you don't have one, that's okay. You watch this video and you are gearing up so that when the opportunity comes, you're ready to rock and roll. And if you need help, contact Delgado Entertainment Law. I got you covered. All right. Checking in on those messages. Thank you for all the fire. Y'all keeping me energized over here. All right, let's check in with that Orko so we can do our wrap up. Here we go. You're muted, fool.
Muted.
There we go. I got you.
Yeah, great.
You gotta do the big wrap up. I kind of was thinking I should magically disappear for like 30 seconds, and then you do the wrap up, and then I come back in. What do you think? Because otherwise they just stare at my face as I'm staring at your face.
Yeah, but it's a good face, so you're good to go. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about a couple of things before we check out. We just want to remind you about. We have an incredible PDF and video that we released that is free to you. It is called 35 Ways to Make Money from Your Music. It is literally jam-packed with things that you can, actionable items that you can do right now to start making money from your music. This is how we want to make sure that you get to 6 figures every year. It's about thinking like a record label and just implementing all the different ways that they make money and how you can apply that to yourself starting today. You can get started as soon as you watch that video. You will already have at least 4 ways that you can get started when you're done. What else do we got going on here? Of course, we have the weekly newsletter that I know all of you are signed up for, because it's so crucial that you get all the updates. You get let know when we have our master classes.
Yeah, go get a mug, people. Come on. For those of you who like have gone
Oh.
and rocking the shirts, I love the pictures, the bathroom pictures in the shirts. They're amazing.
Yeah, no, we have all kinds of fun stuff. And then, of course, we have that free music business jumpstart training course, which the link is also below, and I'll put it in the chat as well. But that includes a free split sheet download for you as well. This the whole jumpstart takes you through just what you should be doing to start your music business, or what you can be adding to,
That's
but it
right. You
includes.
get a personal consultation with me.
And then it has
Basically.
a free split sheet and a music marketing schedule, which everybody just needs anyway to download, literally telling you what you should be doing Monday through Friday with your posts, what kind of stuff you should be posting. And then, we how much we talk about bulk content creation as well. So we got those kind of things. And of course, if you want to work with her, directly, you can just DM her on IG. And she is happy to answer your questions somewhat. Today was terrible. Today was terrible with the plugs. Today was terrible with the plugs. It was terrible.
What are you doing? You gotta.
I'm out of it. I'm out of it. But
The Facebook user says y'all are very knowledgeable. Thank
yeah,
you.
that's why I like
We're having a hard time with the words and the
that.
energy today, apparently.
That's why I like stuff like this. It's just
like me, working on your career every day. Go to topmusicattorney.com to apply to work directly with me. Let's get your music business to 6 figures and beyond.
I love that.
You're out of control.
But other than that, you know what I'm saying? Like, what else is good? What else is good? We got music, we got all kinds of stuff. We got podcasts. Oh, I didn't even talk about the podcast. Where's the podcast talk? I don't know. We have podcast talk.
Are we switching the old live show next week?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we were talking about that. We were talking about that. Yeah. Do you want to talk about that? You want to have an open discussion with the family, with the community?
Yeah. So guys, we were mentioning last week that we were considering moving the show to one day earlier. So it would be on Wednesdays at the same time. And
Right.
we were kind of thinking about that because we have the new segments that we always do, and then we cut them up, we add extra stuff, make them all pretty, and then we release them as separate videos. And we're kind of running into the weekend sometimes when we have multiple news clips. So we just are like, maybe we should do it over a couple of days. So we're thinking a Wednesday situation, which I don't know. We've done the show on Thursdays for so long. It's going to be weird, but I kind of was thinking maybe we should do it next week.
I'm into it. I'm into it. I think it could bring some new life. It'll put a little more leeway with just in helping with the algorithm. I mean, we're really concentrating, we're talking about our quarterly goals. We're really concentrating on the growth and just kind of growing the channel and just trying new kinds of content, trying experimenting with like new thumbnails, new titles. And we think, even a new time might be, kind of help, especially with the clips. So we don't feel, because Saturdays don't really, when we release stuff on Saturdays, it doesn't do as well as it would if we would have released it on a Friday.
Yeah.
Or even as a Thursday. So just kind of like, just for those kind of things. And we don't want the new stuff to come out, too late. And with our new, as you saw, as she mentioned earlier, she had a Kat Von D short that she did a reel that hit over 1 million. And so we're kind of doing some of those too. So make sure that you are following, not just here, but Top Music Attorney across all social media platforms, because we're doing a lot of shorts also that you can find on YouTube, but they've been going viral. They've been going up on Instagram specifically, but they've been doing well everywhere. And we're just trying to catch more of these news things.
Yeah, and it's a different way. I just kind of make it, I make these clips on my phone, and we're just trying to do stuff that's just way less, I don't know, just to get the information to you.
Yeah.
So less pressure, and it seems to be working for you guys. So I want to go.
I think we're going to definitely try it next week. Let's for sure lock it in for next week, next Wednesday. Same time though. Same time, was it 5, was it Pacific time, 6 p.m.
5 p.m. PST, and that would be 7 p.m. EST, but on Wednesday. And in fact, I should put it on the calendar because I'm going to forget. Let's put it on the calendar. Making big moves. That means we have to update branding,
We
right?
gotta
Because we have the show on
I have to update the
banners
websites
and
and banners and stuff, but, and newsletter updates, but I think it'll be good. Like, I think it's a move that we probably should have started at the beginning of the year, but I think it's, no better
it's my
time than to
mom's,
start now.
I should have known this. It's my mom's birthday. I'm gonna have to check in with her. I'm gonna have to treat her right.
Uh-oh.
I gotta I don't know if any of my New Zealand people are watching right now, but my mom's from New Zealand. So I'm a Kiwi. So
We
we
do
gotta
have some New
celebrate.
Zealanders that I see on the podcast.
That's right. All right, cool. I think it'll be
Awesome.
great.
Uh, what else? Is there anything else that we got exciting to talk about?
Mm,
Not that I have a big story that I want to go to, but something I wanted to talk to you about. So apparently they're doing uh, I don't know. We talk about 28 Days Later, the
the
zombie
movie.
movie, and
Yeah,
then there's like a 28 weeks later, right?
right?
And now they just announced that there's going to be a 28 years later. And it's gonna
No.
be with the dude from the original one is like a co-producer. He doesn't know if he's gonna start it from the 28 days later. The one that you get scared of the 28 weeks later, but the one
Well,
that's
first of all, I don't know how I feel
before
about you all putting my stuff out on
on
the
blast.
live. But no, it was funny. A few years ago, it was when I was having all these health issues, and we were watching this movie, and because my adrenals were so shot, because I don't, I love scary movies.
Yeah,
We were watching this thing, and I remember for like days afterwards, I had trouble sleeping, and I was so freaked out, and it took like a year for me to kind of heal and to be doing better. And I was telling Orko, I was like, I want to watch it again, just because it's been like years
yeah.
now, and I think I'll be fine. All this stuff, yeah. So yeah. Now I'm gonna have to watch this by next week so I can just like
But it's crazy because it's gonna be, with Danny Boyle and Alex Garland, are gonna do it. It's gonna be crazy. Like, I think it's gonna be really, really good because all the movies were good. I mean, the second one didn't have the same team, I don't think, as the first one, but just that franchise is really cool. So I'm excited that was coming back. So I thought I'd share because I was gonna put that in the TMA stories on IG, but I just thought of it. Thought you're
yeah,
chop suey.
it's funny, I didn't even show Orko because, I've been
No, I
trying
saw it.
just to do things that I think are fun and cool, and
I love it.
I don't wanna, be influenced by someone's opinion one way or another, good or bad. And so I was posting it, and I was telling my operations manager, I'm like, "I don't know if this is horrible. I don't know if this is, like, literally horrible or super fun." I go, will you keep an eye on comments because I have to, like, go into trial. I'm gonna be busy or whatever. Let me know what people say." And she's like, "Well, generally speaking, people seem to like it." So,
I
Adam, thank you for asking for a full version. That leads me to believe that it's not horrible.
I like that you're having fun. I thought it was actually pretty cool, and I like that you're just trying stuff, and that's what we talk about all the time. If you have a spark of inspiration, just do it. Just like, what does it matter? You monitor how it's doing, and if you're getting a whole lot of hate comments, well, that's just helping your algorithm as well.
That's
So
right.
you know what I mean. It's all it's all good. But I
Well,
I
no, and
actually thought you did a good job. So
oh, thank you. Really?
yeah, I did.
You wouldn't lie to me?
Not on air.
I wouldn't. Well, thank you very much.
No, but
And
you've been doing
yes.
a lot. You did that. You did what? Corn. Um, you did blue. You
Yeah,
did
I haven't actually recorded Blue yet, so I did Blue by
the
Eiffel
piano.
65. Do you guys remember? I have a blue house with a blue window. That one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's probably gonna be one of my next ones that I do. So anyway, if you like any of this stuff, you can watch it on Miss Krystle. So just follow on the Instagram or wherever. I'm
And if
everywhere.
you want some let's talk about which music video we're gonna play. We talked about Monster, but I feel like we've been playing that a lot. Let me tell you what we got. What do you guys want to hear? Do you want to watch the video for Something in the Way? Do you want to watch it for the A Dream is a Wish Your Heart Makes from Cinderella? Part of Your World from Little Mermaid, or we can do the Evanescence cover. That's what I have on tap today.
Let's do the Cinderella one. Yeah, that's right. Blue. All right,
Mhm.
guys. We love your
Uh,
faces. Thank you very much for being here. We'll be back on Wednesday at
all
5 p.m.
right.
PST,
That's exciting.
and enjoy our cover. This was produced by that Orko of the
Oh.
Cinderella A Dream Is a Wish Your Heart Makes.
Let's go.
A dream is a wish your heart makes when you're fast asleep. In dreams you will lose your heartaches. Whatever you wish for, you keep. Have faith in your dreams, and someday your rainbow will come smiling through. No matter how your heart is grieving, if you keep believing, the dream that you wish will come true. A dream